So that you can see this also and coordinate.
Good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of the management and Faculty of Science and Humanities, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Vadaparni campus, I welcome all the participants to this live webinar session titled From Potential to Performance. Our guest speaker for the day is Mrs. Padmini Janardhanan. Mrs. Janardhanan is an accredited rehabilitation psychologist, educational consultant, a corporate consultant for learning and development, and an eminent author of children's stories. Her main thrust has been on assessing the potential of a child by working on individual educational plans and facilitating the implementation of the same to close the potential performance gap while counseling the parents and the child to be reality-oriented. She has been focusing on children with learning difficulties on a one-on-one basis and has been a school consultant for over 4 decades. She has been using several techniques and strategies as suitable for the child concerned, including CBT, hypnotherapy, and storytelling, and appropriate audiovisual e-learning materials. She has recently added Mantra Yoga to her repository of skills. We are indeed privileged to have her with us today for the session. I welcome you, ma'am, and request you to take over the session for today.
Thank you, Soumya. I think I need to share my screen now. Welcome all of you. It's my privilege to be with you all. I feel energized when I see so many of you. Thank you for coming. When I was your age, and we used to have these sessions, not online, but in a huge hall with around 500 people, 300 people sitting, cramped with each other. And we didn't know where to look because sometimes people beside us were far more attractive than people whom we had to look at. So now you're in a different environment. And I remember one thing that came up on those days, which said, you know, there was a person called Norman Vincent Peale. You'll still find his books. And those days, he was the rave. And we didn't have motivational speakers, we had motivational writers. And this was one of the book. I forget the name of the book now. And he said, I'm giving you a mantra which says, every day, in every way, I'm becoming better and better. Please get my name. And here, I thought it was a silly thing. Please get my face also and see. And I thought it was a rather silly thing to say, and because every day, in every way, you can't become better and better. So we had to modify it and say, every day, in some way, I am becoming better and better. But even that, I found was a little too much of a, it's a too tall an order. So it got still modified and said, in as many days as possible, in as many ways as possible, I am becoming better and better. And this has stayed with me over possibly, I don't know how many years now, right? Probably maybe 40 plus years or even more, 45 years. Okay. Even more perhaps, 50 years. I'm now 66. So every day, whenever possible, however possible, becoming better and better is what makes the difference between a satisfied, wholesome person. I'm avoiding the word success because success means many things to many people. But if you are satisfied, if you feel wholesome, if you have no regrets, then you have made it. I think my PPT is still struggling to come online. Okay, let it come when it will. Meanwhile, what it has to say is simply this. Potential is something that we have. I remember one more saying from old days. a very interesting sentence which says, you can count the seeds in a fruit, but you can't count the seeds in a fruit. I'm sorry, you can't count the fruits in a seed. You can count the number of seeds in a fruit. You can't count the number of fruits in a seed. And that's what potential is all about. Potential means what can be. Potentially, we are all brilliant, or at least good enough. Otherwise, we won't be here. We are not mentally challenged. We are not in any way handicapped. We are all here with a lot of potential. Now, imagine somebody who has, let us say, 15 units of potential, and somebody else who has 25 units of potential. And this somebody who has 15 units of potential uses 12 units of it. And somebody who has 25 units uses only 10 units of it. Who would be better? Right? So it is not the potential you have, but the potential that gets transformed into performance that makes sense. I'm still struggling with this thing. I'm either able to see myself or the PPT. I'm not able to see both. Anyway, I hope you are able to see both. University life is a very interesting thing to remember all your life. What is this all about? These are the years, these few years. Is it possible for me to see myself at least, if not the others? Yeah. These university years are important because I don't want to see my PPT, sir. I want to see myself. I'm talking to the technical help here, okay? This is what technology is, and we need to get used to it. My grandfather used to say, it is silly to write in a ball pen, and writing in a, the nibbed pen, fountain pen, is what gives you good handwriting, right? I think many of you may not even have used a nibbed pen in your life. So we have to get used to this technology. You also must get used to this technology, because this is what you'll be growing up with. Okay? So as I was telling you, these years are wonderful years. And this is the time when you bloom, right? In Tamil, those of you who know Tamil, right? You say, that is, it should sprout and a few leaves should come for the plant to go. Now you have come to that stage and you are now in your growth stage. And that is why this topic becomes important today. What are those skills or what are those areas of focus that you must have? Now, before we go into that, look at the slide. Whatever the situation, whether you're in college or not in college, whether you're young or you're old, corona or no corona, we are not here because of corona. If not corona, I won't be having all these gadgets. I'll be meeting you in your gallery room or in your assembly room, which I've been doing all these years, right? So whatever the situation, whether you're going to be in the corporate world, in a capitalistic society, in a communistic society, or in a democratic society or any society, whether you're going to be in small business or large business, wherever you are, whatever the situation, your competence and your capabilities have to travel with you. And these competence and capabilities, you should be able to apply irrespective of the situation to meet any challenge. And this is the preparation that you have now begun. And you will go through it maybe for the next 3 years or possibly for the next 5 years. In my opinion, I've been going through it for the last 50 years and I'm still struggling with all this now. But there are 4 important things that you need to focus on in these years. 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I think that's what the person who has, a friend of mine has done this PPT and she has put this for you, right? So go. The first, I would say first, all of them are important, but you begin with emotional skills. This gives you the energy, the right kind of energy, social and emotional skills, because no one of us is an island, and we need to get networked. So the first thing that you have to focus on, be aware of, and continue being aware of is social and emotional skills. The second, and that's what education is all for. Your parents are bending backwards to pay for it. Your universities are I don't know, not bending backwards, but going in swirls and doing somersaults, right? To get you the best education, given all the difficulties. Cognitive skills, thinking and reasoning. Whenever people talk of learn by doing, I smile to myself, because I've been learning by doing all along. And I've been learning through thinking, through reading, through interacting. To me, mental activity is also doing. And cognitive skills talks of mental activities. What are those mental activities that you must sharpen, be aware of? There's an old Tamil film song, love song, which you might have heard. If you haven't heard, you can hear it. But those lines are very, very pertinent always. And it says, Manam pirarkana mudiyada medai, adil nadamadi payanedum illai. In other words, in English, your heart or yourself is something nobody can see. Your potential is something nobody can see. Dancing in your mind is of no use. Your performance is what is going to showcase you, project you. And therefore, however well you can think, however well you can relate to your emotions and other people's emotions, how are you going to perform? How are you going to do what you're going to do? And the fourth thing is decision skills, because at every time you need to take decisions. Let's get quickly into some of these. What are the emotional skills you need to develop? I think the first most important thing is to enjoy, not college life, but enjoy life. Many of us have not learned to enjoy our lives and enjoy our lives meaningfully. Some of us are enjoying our lives thoughtlessly, dissipating energy. Some of us think enjoying is wrong. Both sides are wrong. Too much of anything is wrong. Enjoy your life. Learn to enjoy meaningfully in a growthful and energetic manner, energizing manner. Your enjoyment should energize you, not exhaust you. Second, collect pleasant memories. I don't know if I'm saying it because of my age and whether it's going to make meaning in your age. But to me, the memories of my college days are a great strength to me. And I think you need to collect all these memories, keep them with you as your energizer. For that, you must network with like-minded people. Like-minded people. You will have to work with people with different wavelengths, with different orientations, different motivations. But there is this core group of friends that you will have who you might lose. I have lost touch of my friends for almost 50 years. A very interesting thing happened. One of my friends, Dr. Charumati, she was my classmate in college. I had lost touch with her for over 35, 40 years. Then when I came back to Chennai, I went to SIET college for some other reason. And I saw somebody walking in the corridor and said, please, can you tell me where I can meet Dr. Charumati? I am her classmate. And she looked at me and said, yes, I am Dr. Charumati. It was such a laughing situation for us. I'll never forget it. But I didn't forget her. She didn't forget me. Although we couldn't even recognize each other. And we went into her cabin. And just as if these 35 years were not there, we started off a new or a renewed friendship. Networking with like-minded people now is very important. So choose your good friends wisely. Why I'm saying good friends is not that others are bad friends, but they are temporary friends. And contingent management. They are there for the project, for the team. When that project dissolves, when that team dissolves, they would go away. But these core friends will stay with you throughout your life. So now, get that group, get networked, collect good memories, and be happy. because you need to develop a lot of cognitive skills. That is your prime task. That is your dharma as a student. We are in the information area. Collecting as much information is important. But luckily for you, unlike for us, you don't have to collect information here. Right? Information is thrown all over. You can take it as you want. I think in Village Schoolmaster, I forget who wrote that poem, English department will tell you. There's a line which says, I wondered how so small a head could carry so much, about the village schoolmaster, because the schoolmaster those days had to carry everything here. He didn't even have the library facilities that we had in our days. And today, everything is not at your doorstep, but at your fingertips. But domain knowledge and general knowledge are important. When you say information, it is not only general knowledge, getting to know things in general, but the domain knowledge, which is also very important. And that will make a difference. Somebody who knows just the domain knowledge, but is low on general knowledge, will find that he will be used by others for his exclusive knowledge. But since he will not be able to network, interlink, other people will do it, and he would remain in the background. Another person who has a lot of general knowledge but does not have domain knowledge will end up as a noisemaker unless he has a strong domain knowledge supporter behind him. But if you can have both, then you can be a leader. Knowledge and competencies are essential for survival. Serving is not leading. We can all, a good team player need not be a good team leader. And a good team leader often is not a good team player. You need to be both. Strong leadership requires uncompromisable domain knowledge. And domain knowledge is not exclusive. It's always interlinked. Today, more and more sciences are coming in. Even at the PhD level, there are some seats allocated for people from a different discipline to come and do research in this discipline, linking the two. So domain knowledge is interlinked, but knowledge is static. It is competence that makes it dynamic. You need to be competent to use your knowledge. To use your knowledge, you must have depth and width of knowledge. Remember, the broader and deeper the base, the taller and more sophisticated the building can be. So both depth and width are important. Depth refers to domain knowledge, width refers to general knowledge. And there are 4 ways in which you can improve these. 1, learning knowledge correlation, learning with others. Knowledge acquisition, learning from others. Knowledge transfer, learning from others who know better than you. And knowledge exchange, as in teamwork. Let's pause just for 1 minute on this. A lot of teamwork, no one of us is as strong as all of us. So in a team when you work, you will generate more than when you are alone. Knowledge acquisition is to collaboratively acquire the generated knowledge of the team. And knowledge exchange helps in this acquisition. The first 3 relates to the peer group. More and more peer learning will come through. The 4th refers to learning from a person who knows more than you. If you stand on the shoulders of a giant, you can look farther. And the taller the giant, the farther you can look. Therefore, learning from a knowledgeable person, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, you have it already made. You don't have to think much of this particular slide. It talks of the range of your intellectual skills, perception, language, reasoning, decision making, problem solving, pattern recognition, attention. Very important, organizing the knowledge and remembering memory. All these constitute your intellectual skills, and these have 3 aspects to it. The absorptive capacity here, you look at it here. The absorptive, I don't know if you can look at it, the absorptive capacity. Now, you absorb things. Then you have the generative capacity. you generate ideas. There is absorption, there is generation, and then there is dissemination. Can't find my cursor, so I'll use my hand. Yeah, it's here. Dissemination is juxtaposition between the two. What you absorb and what you generate must be disseminated. These are internal activities. This gets expressed. These add to your potential. This adds to your performance. Okay? Interpersonal competence, professional performance skills, listening. Talk to people, listen to people, listen to the message, not just the words. Empathize with people or the situation. Normally, we refer to empathy as empathizing with people, but you must also empathize with the situation. The situation calls for a certain response, and we should be sensitive to that. The right response to empathy at the right time, reaching out to people, is important to be developed. Valuable interpersonal skills for your career that you need to develop in these 3-4 years. Leadership and motivation. Motivation gives you energy. Leadership uses that energy to energize other people. Leadership calls for caring and active listening. Motivation calls for responsibility and teamwork. So this will make you strong and make you contribute to make other people strong. You move from being a team player to a team leader. Cognitive competence. And here, I think we need to pause for 2-3 minutes on this slide, because this is the core of your 3 years. Learning how to learn and what to learn. Learning what to learn is very, very difficult. There is so much information about everything. And for you to choose, you must be having that special skill to be able to sift out all that is not required and hold back what is required. That is a workshop material by itself. Scanning. When you have, when I Google and it says 1,320 sites in 40 seconds or in 30 seconds. Now, I don't want 1,220 sites. I want 2 or 3 sites to give me the material. So how do I choose those 2-3 sites? So I have to quickly scan through and decide, this is not for me. This is not what I'm looking for. This is not going to help me. And choose that 4, 5, 6, which will contribute to what I am looking for. And then read them with comprehension. When I read them with comprehension, I will know the redundancy, because many of them, you're talking of one topic, many sites will be redundant. So when you read with comprehension, you can remove the redundancy, you can remove the unnecessary frills and get to the core. Note-taking skills helps in this process. Whether you are reading or listening, taking notes as you go on, writing, right? It helps in 3 ways. One, it's a kind of a record for you to get back to. Second, it keeps you focused, because as we will see in the next few slides, in the next slide or thereafter, listening is about 4 to 5 times faster than speaking. So as you are listening, your mind works on so many different things and leads you away to various other things. To keep yourself focused, note-taking helps. The third thing is, it helps you to sort of comprehend and get the core gist of it, so that when you go back to work on the theme, already you have the core in you. So develop your note-taking skills, whether you are reading or listening. Working on a theme, I think we already were talking about that. Ordering, putting things in order. And finally, presentation, not only writing, but also speaking. Very often, you will need to present yourself, not in speaking or writing, but in both. So you must be able to write, you must be able to speak, you must be able to relate the two, and then make a good presentation. Now, this is a skill that we learned much, much later, and you start early. So early bird catches more worm, they say. Huh? You are the early birds, good. So what is learning? We said learning how to learn and what to learn. So what is learning? Indexing, generalized. So don't get too much into this psychological technicalities. Much of it happens automatically in a normal mind. God has already programmed it and installed that program irreversibly into us. But for you to know, indexing, generalizing, discriminating, sorting. When I look at a chair, I general, what happened? Oh God, a whole lot of, it's got scribbled. I didn't do it. Oh, very sad. Anyway, ignore that, okay? When I think of this is technology. Huh? So when sometimes it happens, no, even without technology, we stammer, we get into some kind of a problem. It's okay. Indexing is putting things in order. Generalizing, a chair is a furniture. Discriminating, a chair is not a shelf, although both are furniture. Okay? And doesn't matter, please, right? Okay? The chair is not a shelf, chair is not a revolving chair. So within the chair, there's discrimination. I'm giving you a simple example, but in all complex examples, this is the same. You must know to discriminate, you must know to generalize. That indexing helps in that, and discrimination and generalizing will help you to organize an order. Am I going too fast? Can we continue? I think there's some technical hitch with the PPT, doesn't matter. Now, therefore, listening skills are very important. Much of your learning will now come from listening, right? Okay, that's good technology. I've got lovely people to help me in technology. Huh? Okay, thanks. Okay. Retention. Okay, this is what we already spoke about. So we need not get back into that slide. While we are waiting for it to come back, I suppose whatever I have said has made a lot of sense to you all. Think about it. There is a lot more. We'll go on to the fourth skill now. We spoke of interpersonal skills, we spoke of cognitive skills, we spoke of performance skills, and we'll now go on to decision skills. Now, decision skills are perhaps the most important skills in the years to come, because you will have to take several decisions. So long, many decisions were taken for you. Now you have to be on yourself to make decisions. That is the transition now. Less guidance, less hand-holding. You have to take responsibility for yourself. For you to take decisions, you must know the choices available. If you don't know the choices, obviously you can't choose it. The more choices you have, the better decision you can make. To know the choices available, now look back. Information is important, translating, indexing, generalizing, discriminating, taking them into knowledge, right? Empathizing with the situation are all important to understand the choices. Consequences of the choices. There's a price for everything. Nothing comes from nothing. Nothing ever could. There's the price for everything. So what is the consequence? If I choose option A, what is the price? What will I lose? If I choose option B, what is the price? What do I lose? What do I gain? Is what I gain more than what I lose? These are the things that you must be very wary of. For instance, you might be wanting to go to a party of your friends in the evening, assuming Corona is over and no lockdown. I'm sure it's going to happen in a few years, few months time, a few weeks time, and then we'll all be partying and sort of trying to make up. And you really want to go, but tomorrow there is a test, or tomorrow there is an entrance exam, which can be postponed. The partying can be postponed. The exam cannot be. So what is your choice? Sometimes the partying also cannot be postponed. Then what are you losing to get what? So this is a choice that you have to make. What are your priorities? Priorities, long-term and short-term. And you must understand the difference between attractiveness and priorities. What I am attracted to is not my priority, right? It is an attraction. You're all very young, but you're going to soon grow up, and you will be hearing this very often. Infatuation is not love. You think you're fallen in love with somebody, and then they say, oh, no, that was only puppy love, infatuation. That was only attraction. Sorry, parents, I'm not corrupting your children, but anyway, they're going to get into this phase. So remember, attractiveness is not priority, okay? So be happy, educate yourself. Domain knowledge, general knowledge, information. Equip yourself. Develop your competences. Intellectual competence, social competence, personal competence, and enjoy life. Nothing can replace that, because that is your energy source. Educate, equip, enjoy, and be happy. Questions? I don't know, Soumya, how are you going to organize the question answer session now? Can I get the...
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Soumya, can you ask for questions? And if there are any, how much more time do we have?
Actually, we have almost 20-25 minutes.
Good. I wanted to have 40 minutes speech and 20 minutes.
Okay.
Two-third, one-third. So any questions anybody wants, any elaboration, anything else you can tell me.
We request the participants to post their questions in the comment box.
Yeah.
You may
I've
raise
got
your
some
hands
things,
also.
I don't have my specs. Is it possible to get the PPT? I think question goes to Soumya. Are you going to make it possible?
The PPT, ma'am?
Yeah. Anyway, you can coordinate with her for that. It's no longer mine. I've handed it over.
We will share the PPT once we get it from you, ma'am. You can mail me and I can forward it to them.
Oh, you don't have it. Okay, I'll send it to you. Okay?
Okay.
There's a whole lot of good afternoon, hello all, and all that. Can you get me the questions, please, from here?
Any questions from the participants can be posted in the comment box.
Yeah, there are some posts posted only. I'm not able to look at them.
There's a question. How can we develop the leadership quality?
Well, I don't know how many minutes that's going to have. You're going to give me for that. It takes years to answer that question for yourself, right? Nothing grows in a few minutes time or in a 2-day workshop. But there are certain things you can start working towards developing, and much of what we spoke earlier is dovetailed. You know, I've always found that the title varies, but what goes into it will more or less sort of, 80%, 70% of it will be the same. Supposing the title was Become Leaders, not Potential to Performance, same thing will come. Some 50, 60% will come. A few more things will come. So now let's look at the question. How do we become leaders? Non-compromisable domain knowledge, empathy, clarity of goal, expressional skills. Am I being redundant? Am I saying the same thing? Yes. To be a strong leader, you must know what you are leading, who you are leading, why you are leading, and how to lead. So how do you develop your leadership skills? Know your subject, know what you are leading, have empathy and social skills, know whom you are leading, know your team, learn to know your team. 3, have good expressional skills. Crisp, attractive, interesting, spoken, written, and know the goal. Because all this can be there, but if you don't know the goal, will be a nice, interesting team that doesn't reach anywhere. So the task orientation and the people orientation must be balanced to be a leader. You must be able to carry people along for a task, and that is the leader.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, another question for you.
Yeah.
The second question here is, in case of introverts, the networking part of the entire process is difficult. So can you suggest some ways for an introvert to do good networking?
Please, not extrovert, introvert again. I've been dealing with it every day. This is the most abused, misused, wrongly understood term. What do you understand by introvert? What is introversion, extroversion? Now let me get back to a little bit of technical now, right? Just few minutes, allow me. Introversion, extroversion relates to where your energy comes from. Not talking to 10 different people. It is the source of energy. Now, if my energy comes from outside, then I tend to relate to more people because I want to energize myself. I am an incurable extrovert, like my son tells me, like my son accuses me, not tells me, right? So even if I have to prepare for my speech, I have to imagine a classroom, I have to imagine people sitting there and mentally go through the whole thing because it is that vision that energizes me. Whereas an introvert is energized from the inside, does not need energy coming from out. An extrovert is no better than an introvert is no better than an extrovert. Where the energy comes is what introversion, extroversion is about. With introvert, being an introvert, you can network beautifully with others because you get energized, you decide, you can choose how much, how far, with whom, and then you can take it forward. Clarity of purpose, expressional skills, along with energy, leads to networking. Now, the energy can come from the outside or the inside. Either way, it's all right. So it is not as if introverts can't network. Indira Gandhi, when we grew up, she was our ideal. And she was supposed to be a total introvert. But you knew how extroverted she was, how much you put India on the world map, if you go back to history. So you don't have to be an extrovert to be a leader. You must know your strengths. Equally, extroversion, introversion have their strengths and weaknesses. There are these MBTI tests. You can take them. You'll understand. Are you an extrovert with extrovert strengths or weaknesses? Are you an introvert with introvert strengths or weaknesses? It is not extroversion or introversion, but are you using the strength or weakness of that attribute? That makes the difference. Am I making sense? Who asked the question, please? Are you here?
Ma'am, they're all on mute.
They're all on mute, but please can you ask whoever asked this question, did I make sense?
Sure, they could respond, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, the next question here is how to guide people to do their work without having an expectations on the reward and yet towards satisfaction.
That is a very unfair thing. Very unfair. No, you want me to work and you won't reward me. That is really very bad. But sometimes it's true. And satisfaction is reward. I don't understand the question. How do I make people work for satisfaction and not for reward? Is satisfaction not a reward? So rewards are intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic reward is something that you can motivate. That's what leadership is about. Empathize. Give the feel-good factor. Make life worthy. Make the interaction worthy. Make the experience wholesome and worthy. Right? Even if today I'm not going to be paid, extrinsic reward. Maybe the satisfaction it gives me, maybe the networking it facilitates, maybe the platform it gives for me to develop my skills, these are all rewards. Right? So to say no rewards, no, I don't think that's the right thing. No extrinsic rewards or extrinsic rewards, not as expected, but intrinsic rewards as a priority is what leadership skills are about. A leadership must motivate a focus to intrinsic rewards, to personal movement, and let's focus on extrinsic rewards. But again, let's be practical. When I'm doing a job, am I doing it for my personal growth or for the pay? We are going to another topic now, very important topic, students. Please be with me for this. You see, sometimes our Swadharma cannot be followed in today's world in our career. My career may be something, my career may be to be a teacher, but I may hate teaching. I would love to be a cook, but I can't be a cook. I have to be a teacher. Not me, because I love being a teacher. I think the greatest gift God has given me is to give me a career that is aligned with my Swadharma. But there are people for whom it is not. In that case, they are working for external rewards only. So I would expect only that much from them. Now, for two things. A, you are on my team and you are working for extrinsic rewards. Okay, we have a deal. I give you so much, you do so much. You know, work to rule itself is a form of strike. In olden days, there was essential services. Even today, they can't go on strike. So if they have to go on strike, they'll say work to rule. Because work to rule itself is not working fully. You're just working to the rule. But that's what you can expect. But if I am the team, if I am the player, and I know that my intrinsic rewards are not getting satisfied in this job, are not coming here, where do I look for them? How do I find time for them? That is where your hobbies help. So you must have a little hobby. I had a lovely friend when I used to work for BHEL. He was a typist. And he was one of those whom Mrs. Indira Gandhi called in person and gave special rewards and all that. Because he was working for those days, adult education was very much in the frame. And he was very good in adult education. And he was a typist. And he would do typing only after his working hours. He would file up everything. No OD for him, but no attendance for him also. So he was one person who would do excellent typing because he had no time to redo. He had no time to be called and shouted at by the boss. He would do it right the first time. Everybody would like to give work to him. And they know if they give it today, it will come tomorrow. And he is always busy in adult education. He's now retired. I was told he got retired and went to his native place. I've lost touch with him. But he was a wonderful person. Right? The extrinsic reward came from the job, which was essential for him. And therefore, he had to do the job extremely well. The intrinsic rewards came from elsewhere, from where his energies came from. So he got energy from there and spent it here and in the society. He's a very happy person. Yeah. What is your message to students and teachers in the pandemic situation?
I think there is another more important question here. The primary...
Let's take it. This is also an important question and very important for the person who asked it. Let's not bypass. Okay. Because for some of us, we are hearing this over and over again. Right? It's not the first time the world is seeing a pandemic. Right? When you had this, what do you say? Ringer, ringer, roses, pocket full of posies, husha, busha, all fall down. You all know the rosary rhyme. You know how it came? In a pandemic situation. When there was the plague and a lot of children were dying, and posies were anti-plague that they kept in their pockets. It's a very morbid nursery rhyme, although children enjoy it. But the background of it is very morbid. So ring a ring of roses, a ring of roses, all children, right? That's why you hold hands and go around. Pocket full of posies. They had the antidote in their pocket. Asha, Busha, all fall down. One by one, everybody fell down. But after the pandemic, it became the happiest rhyme. And I think after 3 generations, we are happily singing it. So this is not the first pandemic the world has seen. The world saw smallpox, leprosy, polio. We came out of all that. Still, SARS, I think, went off by itself. H1V and AIDS are still on. We are still fighting, right? So Corona also will find a way to deal with it. Human beings, we are endowed with our ajna, our volition and our cognition. Volition and cognition. These are our human strengths. If you don't let go of this, no pandemic can get the better of you. You will get the better of pandemic. Okay? So don't worry. This will be over in a few days or few weeks time, but we will continue living. This species will go on and evolve into a better species. Okay? So don't worry much about it. Temporary contingency measures are required to overcome this situation. Permanent long-term skills must be developed to carry on later. Am I answering your question?
And the next question is related to that. So the primary skill that is necessary post this pandemic situation to have a good outlook towards life.
Yes, that's what the presentation was for, and that's what it was about. The primary skills of social intelligence, cognitive intelligence, competence, whether, and that's the first corona, corporate world or small industry, right? It's going to be whether it's going to be a capitalistic society or a socialistic society, right? Pandemic or healthy, whatever the situation, your life skills remain the same. And if you are strong in your life skills, you will be able to do three things: sustain a difficult situation, come through with it better, and continue performing from where you left, right? And keep the growth curve going. So all these three will be possible if you develop these four basic skills: social skills, cognitive skills, performance skills, and most important, yes, can I hear you?
Decision
skills. Okay? Yeah.
Ma'am, the next question is how to adapt ourselves in the post-lockdown period.
If I have not changed during the lockdown period, why should I adapt? The mistake that we made is to think lockdown is something very, very different, right? And therefore we are pushed into it. You know, like, you know, when bell rings, children came rushing out of college school as if they were locked up and the jail door open. It used to irritate me a lot in schools, right? And I think many schools have learned not to do this, right? So you can come out of this. Don't get into the pandemic, then you won't come out of it. You won't need to come out of it. Just don't get into it. Keep your motivation high, keep your skills high. Lots of things you can do. Mental activities, if mental activity is also an activity for you. If it is not, time to develop, right? So if you're thinking and reasoning and you're learning skills, today you have tremendous amount of opportunities. Make use of them. So don't get into this pandemic and say, oh, how sad, I can't meet my friends. How sad, I have to wash my hands. It's good to wash your hands, even without the pandemic. You know, in our house, I come from a very traditional Tambram family. Whenever we came in, we had to wash our hands, wash our feet and come in. And I was one of those rebels, you know, very, very intelligent. So I said, I wear my chappals. I don't go bare feet. I leave my chappals outside. Why should I wash my feet? And then I was told very gently, don't you think you're feeling silly? Because you wash your feet, not because there's dirt in it, but because you have to cool your system, which has come in the hot sun. No, I'm from Tamil Nadu. So when you come in the hot sun and you pour water on your, cold water on your feet, your system gets cooled, not because you had shit in your feet and you're removing it. So I was given this. And after that, I realized what a blessing it is to pour water on the feet, right? So some of the things that we are doing now are some things we need to continue to do, not stop doing, right? Distancing, social distancing, one-arm distance is good always. You see, the aura around you, that is the energy space. That's a big topic by itself. We draw energy from the electromagnetic energy around us. When there is more energy around us, the chances of drawing positive good energy is more. And you are hitting each other. You know, you feel suffocated, no, in a lift with 20 people or with 12 people. But in a lift with 2 people, you feel comfortable, isn't it? So social distancing, not social distancing, that's a wrong word. I don't know, that word has come to stay. Personally, I don't like that word. In fact, social distancing has reduced in my opinion. I would not be able to relate to so many wonderful people, youngsters, and get so energized, right? But for the social distancing. Because even if you had called me for a lecture, there might be only 100 people or 50 people in the room. Now the whole world is thrown open. It is physical distance. And physical distancing is good. Maintain it. Whether the government says it or whether Corona says it, you maintain it because it's good for you. You wash your feet, sanitize your hands because it's good for you. Not because somebody else is imposing it on you. So, how do I get out of the pandemic? By not getting into it in the first place. Okay? Yeah.
Ma'am, another question here.
Yeah.
So the questioner is asking that if employee-employer negotiating skills would affect the performance of a potential worker in this pandemic situation.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. I don't know. I would not like to answer this question in this forum because it is meant for freshers, undergraduates.
Faculty members are also a part of it, ma'am.
Faculty members are a part of it, but I don't consider faculty members as part of negotiating worker population.
Okay.
Right? Something is wrong with the definition there. Right? Sadgurubhyo Namaha. All of you are Sadgurus and you're all there in the task of man making with intrinsic rewards. Right? Yes, we need our salaries. You know, when, yes, we need our compensation package. But that is priority 2, priority 3. Okay? Anyway, negotiation is a very important thing. It is going to get very much affected in the post-corona time. It is already being affected in the industry and in the service sector. But I don't think we should focus on it right now. Maybe in another forum we can discuss it. As far as the children are concerned, it's not your job. Yeah.
Another question, ma'am. He says every individual has the potential to do something, but they have the stigma in mind to perform in their social life. What is the psychological impact of such kind of individuals?
Very good question. Very good question. That is what I spoke about, Swadharma and career. If the Swadharma and career are matched, then the question will not arise. There's something I want to do, right? Like a friend of mine who wants to just cook and be happy. She says, I don't even want to be a cook and provide for hospital or for commercial purposes. She just wants to be happy. But she cannot be because, what are you? Oh, like what comes in the thing? Oh, I have to have my own bakery. It's not enough if I wash vessels and be happy. Right? I must have an identity. So these are social stigmas that we have developed. My grandmother had a wonderful identity of being a grandmother. Right? She never cooked. We had lots of servants. Right? There are lots of housewives who had good identity. Not only housewives, these are again getting into gender roles. Let's not get into gender roles of yesteryears. You can do what you want to do as long as you are happy about it, A, and B, nobody else is unhappy about it. When I say nobody else, I mean the significant few around you. Because you have a responsibility. You cannot take vanaprastha at the age of 32. You have to provide for your family. You have to take care of your children. You might have to do something that's not to your heart's content. Spend a little time for it. Keep it alive. A time will come when all these other roles will fade away and the personal role will loom large when you're 60, 65. But if you lost track, if you've lost your identity, if you've lost your skills, if you've lost your interest in your hobbies, then you can't get back. There must be something to go back to. So my suggestion is, as you go doing, being. Am I making sense or am I going out of the focus? I hope I'm making sense. There is this doing and being. Now, when the two are the same, my being comes from my doing satisfies my being, no problem. But when they are dichotomous, as a child, you're totally in the being realm. No responsibilities, no commitments. As you grow up, I have a grandnephew now, poor chap. He's stuck in Germany, not being evacuated. And there he's doing his second standard, but he has joined third standard in India. They were supposed to have come in May. They are stuck. That poor child is doing 4 hours of German syllabus, second standard in the morning, and 3 hours of Indian syllabus, third standard in the afternoon on Skype. Very difficult. So as you grow up, the demands of doing reduces the time and energy for being. This goes on. There is less time for being, lesser time for being, lesser time for self. At the time when you are now in college years, the time is for you. Once you get finished this and get into professional life, time for yourself becomes very less. For a grihastha or grihani, the time for self is very less. And you cannot, because role requirements are important. You've accepted the role, you must do justice to that role. People will grow up, people will go away from you, will come into retirement, and then you'll come back to yourself. So what I told you in the beginning, networking, developing your skills, are all important because that's what you'll come back to. That is what will keep you energized. Okay? So as you grow, the doing decreases, being increases. Till such times, you're only in the realm of being, you're not doing anything that you don't want to do. And that's when you are fully into Vanaprastha. So what was the question again? Please come back. I think I meandered. Soumya, repeat the question.
The one that you just now answered?
Yeah.
Ma'am, that was...
I don't know if I answered. I attempted to. Yeah, tell me the question.
Just a minute. Even I have to get back to it. I was actually writing down the other question.
I have it here. Every individual has the potential to do something, but they have stigma in mind to perform in their social life.
Right.
What is the social impact? It can be very, very demotivating, de-energizing. So it is not a stigma, but the time and focus you spend on it has to be aligned with the being-doing ratio of the given time that you are in. Okay? Yeah.
Ma'am, one last question.
Yeah.
There's a question that could you please throw light on the emotional intelligence of the young boys and girls today?
They're all with you rather than me. This word emotional intelligence has become popular now. Earlier, when we were in college, it used to be called social intelligence. And that is the first skill I spoke about. In today's youngsters, I don't know whether I'm competent to say this. I think my grandniece is not registered, thankfully, because she tells me, Party means grandmother. Party, it is not generation gap between us, it is generations gap, because she's my grandniece, right? So across generations gap, I don't know if my perceptivity is valid, but what I see is a lot of change that has come about, where there is a movement, there is a kind of validation that people are looking for through others. Somewhere being an extrovert has become a value, and being an introvert is seen as not good, which I already explained is not true. So your swabhava is something that you must relate to. Your emotional intelligence depends upon your acceptance of yourself first. Only then you can look at others. And in today's youngsters, this self is being defined by others. So look at yourself, get in touch with yourself, and meet yourself. Meet yourself. Become your friend. That is very important. The second thing is, when you meet others, don't project yourself on them. Very often you say, I wouldn't do that. If I were you, I wouldn't do that. And I would say, no, you're not me. I would do it because I am me. So these expectations that they have, that other people should align to their expectation, that is something that we need to look into. So these are the two things that today's youngsters must look into. Meet themselves, get in touch with their inner self, understand others with empathy. Then your emotional intelligence will be robust. Yeah. Yes, Soumya, do we have time for one more?
Just one more question. How to make, can we make our career goal as the Swadharma?
I wish it is yes. and yes for all. But unfortunately, it becomes no for some and perhaps many. What is Swadharma? The dharma or the line of activity that you are born for, your personal evolution. Those activities that will enhance your personal evolution. Sometimes what we need to do for our daily living is not aligned to it. So when that happens, we need to balance. Both are important when they are not the same, and we need to balance. And as doing decreases and being increases, the role of Swadharma will increase and the role of imposed dharma will decrease. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, yes, sir. Where are we now? Frozen. I find it. Soumya is frozen on my screen. Yeah, she's coming back. Yeah. I don't hear. You can open up the mics of others if they want to say something. I don't know who's the admin. I don't know. Ma'am, you're somebody says you're so good and interesting. Feel happy to attend your session. Oh, you're so motivating, right? If I've been interesting, it's because you have made me so, right? So thank you for attending the session and giving me energy, for giving me the opportunity to share. I love it.
We are very happy that you really made the session very lively, and there were quite a few questions that you answered really well. And I'm sure all the participants really benefited from your session. Very enlightening session on how to keep ourselves upskilled during this crisis, that so-called crisis, and then also in the post COVID-19 period. Very happy to have you again, ma'am. Thanks all the participants. There's a feedback form that's been posted on the comment section, so you can fill the feedback form. So with this, we come to the end of the session. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, all of you. It's a pleasure meeting you all. I hope very soon we'll meet in person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.